if you're an agency owner and you are looking to grow your business, so maybe you're making about $10,000 or $20,000 a month and you want to grow to $50,000, I have some straight value for you, straight fire. And before you start making comments on the fact that I'm wearing a sweater on the beach, just stay tuned. I'll give you an answer as to why I would do something so crazy at the very end. So, I'm going off the cuff right here. If you are an agency owner, meaning that you provide digital services for businesses, what does that mean? That means maybe you do Facebook ads, maybe you do social media marketing, maybe you do graphic or web design, maybe you do like Google SEO, any type of service business that provides value for another type of small business or a brand, you're gonna wanna know this stuff. The first overarching tip I have to tell you is that really what it comes down to is most agency owners don't have their product and their position dialed in enough to make the leap. And even if you're making already 6 figures, you can work on dialing this in. So what do I mean price and positioning? There are 3 elements to really crafting a strong price and position to your brand and really making sure that you're making enough cash flow. And so the first thing is you should probably be raising your rates. It seems obvious, but for some reason we have psychological barriers around wanting to charge more for our services. It's because we've been charging the same amount for a long time. We feel like that's our ceiling, we've hit our ceiling. Or we feel like we're competing with the industry and we can only charge a certain amount of money because that's what everyone else is charging. I would encourage you to look at what you're charging for your service right now and just to double your rates arbitrarily, without any type of reasoning behind why you're doing it, except that you want to test to see what happens when you do that. What you'll find is that a lot of times, a certain type of audience, a certain type of client will gravitate towards providers who charge more. I mean, I can tell you this from personal experience. When I go on Amazon and I look for a product, even if there are 10 of the same products, I'm always much more drawn to the ones that cost more, just because of psychology, because I associate more value with higher price. And there's also the very real fact that most times when you're in a service-based business, the fact that you're trading your time for money usually means that you're underestimating how much time it actually takes you to deliver a service, and you're watering down your own prices. So for instance, if you're charging, we'll just talk hourly here, if you're charging $100 an hour, well, you might think that's a great rate because, minimum wage is $7 or $8 and, in the past, 25 or 30 has been standard, so you feel like 100 is great. Well, you don't take into account the fact that it takes you time to get the client, to onboard them, to deliver the service, and to follow up with them, and that might water down your rate over time. So $100 ends up being maybe $15 when it's all said and done. It takes more time to deliver a service than you might expect, and you need to take that into account when you charge. So double your rates. Really think about increasing your rates and growing your comfort zone to charge, not only what you want, but what you deserve. Other things to consider is when you want to make more money, one of the easiest ways is to just retain more of the clients that you have. Oftentimes, it's really easy to cycle through clients with short things, one-off deals, or quick engagements. But the best way to consistently make more money, MRR, monthly recurring revenue, is to continually engage clients who already know, like, and trust you. This is pretty simple, but the easiest thing to remember here is that you don't have to convince existing clients to work with you again, or you don't have to convince them as hard because they already know, like, and trust you if you're delivering the service. And over time, if you retain most of your clients, you won't constantly be looking for new ones, and it's easier to predict then how much you're going to make on a monthly basis. Third thing I want to tell you about is the fact that, you should just be getting more customers. You should be looking for more customers in the places where your ideal hangs out. So that means having a good funnel, and we'll talk about that in a few seconds, because coming back on this, am I going enough value yet? Coming back on this, my team is like, yes, this is supposed to be just a value video. Great, it's valuable. Coming back on this, most service-based agencies don't have any funnel in place. They don't have any real way for getting leads consistently. They kind of just depend on referrals, and they're hoping that people come to the door, or they're hoping that Google gives them enough SEO juice that people sign up for their stuff. Here's the reality. There are a few elements that you're going to need training on in order to really maximize growth, okay? First of all, you need funnels. And maybe this isn't a term that you use a lot because you're a service provider, and that's more of like a product internet marketing term, funnels, but you're going to need a funnel. And if you don't have one, you're going to need someone to help you build one, or need someone to train you to teach you how to build one. A funnel is just basically an automated process where you find a lead, right? And then they go through like a landing page, or some sort of free offer, and they're brought into your world of content, your world of engagement, your world of fun. They get to know you, and then somewhere along the line, they're presented with your offer. Every type of service business needs a funnel, and this is just how we get clients. So if you're depending on referrals, that's good to start, and you might be able to make a good amount of money just on referrals, but it's not going to be enough. So you need a funnel. You're also going to need someone to teach you or train you or your team on sales. This is really important because for a while we kind of just wing it and we don't really have any real idea or understanding of what it takes to create a consistent sales closing ratio. You have to understand that sales is a skill. So learning how to get on the phone, learning how to overcome objections, learning how to identify what people really need based on not just what they say, but what they're showing you with their body language, with their vocal tonality, understanding the common objections and psychological barriers that people run into. Very important for sales. And so there's plenty of ways you can train yourself on developing sales skills. And this is something that a lot of people overlook until they get to a point where they're not making any more money, and this is usually a barrier to overcome. Another thing you might want to consider is developing a really sick onboarding system, and this has to do with tech. Most service-based industries or service-based businesses, especially when they're agencies bringing people in, sometimes bottleneck themselves because they can't actually bring on any more clients since they don't have the right systems and onboarding in place. And this is where you end up basically getting to a point where your growth actually hampers further growth. Does that make sense? You get to a point where you have enough leads coming in where it actually shuts down your ability to take in more leads. And so what you're going to need to do is develop just a really good onboarding system. Have a smooth process for bringing a client from completely the unknown, not knowing you, all the way to working with you on day one. What I like to do is I like to build something simple in. When they first meet me and we're deciding to work together, have a type form or a Google form that allows them to put all their information down, all their needs, wants, and desires, asks them key questions, and gets out some of the nitty-gritty data so that my team can actually look at what they need and develop the right ideas and resources for them. Another thing you're going to want to do is have as much of the process as you can automated. So get automated calendars. You can use Calendly, which is a nice service, or which is a nice like a SaaS that schedules your calendar and allows you to set up your Google Calendar so that people can just schedule calls with you. You're going to want to have things like that. You're going to want to have autoresponders, so any type of like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign. These are systems that send out messages automatically, so when people come into your world, you don't have to physically send out the mail, right? All these things are small, and maybe they're 5 or 10% improvements on their own, but over time, as you start to automate the emails, you start to add automated calendars, you start to have some automated onboarding forms and surveys. Eventually it gets to a point where someone signs up with you, they find you, and then the first time you talk to them, they're already scheduled. They've scheduled themselves. You already know who they are and what they want, and they're being communicated to on your behalf without you doing it. And these are really important. So let's kind of go through it again. Let's transition. We have making more money. We have determining what you're going to do to increase the systems. So sales, marketing, onboarding. And the third thing is standardizing your service. Most people think of services, because you're providing time in exchange for money, as just a customizable thing that people can pick and choose. And this is great when you're starting off in the beginning because you want to get more customers, and it feels like if you provide more of a customized service, people will want to work with you more, and it'll be easier for you to get more people because people want to pick and choose. They want to cherry pick the services that you offer. So for instance, let's say you run mostly Facebook ads. That's your thing. You run an agency that does Facebook ads. Someone comes to you and says, hey, I really need Facebook ads, but also can you make a website for me? And can you design my logo? And you're like, well, I can do all that stuff, and I really want you as a client. And even though I mostly do Facebook ads, I can do all those things, and maybe I can make some money, and I'll make you happy, and it'll be great. And a lot of beginning service business owners think of their business like this. They're like, yeah, I kind of just do it all. That's not really helpful to scaling you. After a while, you get to the point where people don't really respect what it is that you do. And it's not that it's a personal thing where they don't like you or they don't respect you as a person, but they don't respect your niche. I should get a t-shirt that says, respect my niche. They don't respect your niche. And what that means is that when they're asking for all the things that fall outside of your zone of genius, outside of your wheelhouse, essentially, it makes it really hard for you to deliver that service powerfully and effectively. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is I'm going to encourage you to productize your service. There's a great book you can read for this too. It's called Built to Sell by John Warrillow. And basically the whole book is a story, it's an allegory around a service owner. I think his name is Alex. And the service owner has a business who he does everything for his clients. He does all the marketing for his clients, but he realizes it's not serving them because he can't do the best at every single piece of the job. He's really only good at designing logos. And so the idea is, what are you best at? What you're gonna have to do is determine where your zone of genius is and hone in your area of focus. Now what that means is, over time, as you start to really communicate to your clients what your focus and intention is for your business, you're gonna lose some clients. People are gonna say, oh, well, I really want someone who can do all my digital marketing, and I don't wanna just work with someone who just does the Facebook ads. Well, that's gonna have to be okay with you, because what you're gonna find is, as you narrow down your service and as you streamline what it is that you offer and you get very clear on what it is that you're doing, you'll get more of the right type of people. And once you get more of the right type of people who know what you want, you can charge more money, which is important for your business. And you can also hire the right people who have very specific skill sets. And rather than hiring generalists who kind of do a little bit of everything, you can hire specialists who are experts at their craft, who are pros, and who can give you the absolute best results for the clients, which is the goal of it all anyway. So if you think about it, the first part, making more money, increase your rates, get more clients, retain existing clients. In terms of systems, figure out your marketing, figure out your sales, figure out your onboarding, and then in terms of your product itself, productize it, make it into a real thing, and make it a one-stop shop. That's pretty much it. If you can get those three elements in place, then you're gonna have a much more healthy business. Those three things don't really take much extra effort on your part. So you could go from where you are now, from like $10,000 to $20,000 to 30, 40, 50, 60, beyond, just making those tweaks. And that's it. I don't have much more value than that to add today, because it's already been like 5 minutes. And guess what? There's no call to action. Oh yeah, my sweater. Why am I wearing this? Because I'm a mother***ing G. See you later. Peace.